Okay, today we're going to assemble a portable flow meter for mobile testing on trucks. A customer has a series of 30 or so trucks and they all have PTO pumps on them, gear pumps, and they're having a few problems with them. So we're going to build them a little test unit and I'll show you how we do that. We're going to use a Hedland Flowmeter 0 to 30 gallons per minute and a Parker needle valve. And the part number on that is N1200S, and then a 0 to 3000 gauge. So I'll show you how to assemble this. This will be part one, and then we're going to go out to the customer and we're going to show some of the mechanics how to use it and do an actual test on one of their trucks. So we're trying to make this thing real simple for them. We're going to use quick disconnect so they can plug right into the back of the truck and find out right away. So let me assemble this and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so what we have here is a Hedland 0 to 30. Okay, and then we got the fittings here. And these are O-ring boss on this, so I'm just going to tighten these up. Okay. You know, these have O-rings in there, so you don't want to over tighten them, but you want to snug them down. Okay, like that. There's another one on the bottom. You don't want to get real heavy-handed with these, but they're snug. And I have a special fitting here for a side port. It's also O-ring boss. Okay. And then we have a 0 to 3000 gauge. I'm going to use a little Loctite, a couple little drops on here. You don't have to do this, but I like to use the Loctite. Just enough to, that way there's no problems on it. So that'll go right in the side here. You don't want to over tighten this one either. It's brass. Just get it right where you want it, let that set up. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Okay, now we'll do the needle valve. Now you want to put these, this is a Parker needle valve, 3/4 inch. Like I said, the part number's N1200S. And the way you're gonna look inside here, because it has, the ports are different. You have a big side and a little side. And so I want to make sure I put it the right direction of flow. And the flow is going to go on the big side out, and then it's going to be controlled. It actually, I don't think it really matters which way you put these on, but it's to control the flow. You'll open this thing all the way up for full flow. So again, we're going to use some Loctite on these pipe threads. You don't have to use Loctite, but when I'm doing like a permanent thing, I like to use this. I've never had any leaks when I do this. And I'm going a few threads past, you can kind of see. Okay. So we'll put this in here, we'll set it up. Down in there. Okay, same thing on the other side. Again, real careful with the Loctite. You don't want this stuff getting down in the valves, and you put too much on there and then it leaks down inside. That's why I go a few threads back. Really want to pay attention to that. You get on some of these valves that have fine ports and stuff, and this stuff gets down in there, you'll have a problem. So I go back 1 to 2 threads before I start it. I don't want that getting inside of the valves. You don't want to get too over tight, but you want it good and strong. If you can, you can wipe some of the excess Loctite. Now, this stuff isn't actually Loctite. It's Vibratite thread sealant, and it's for hydraulics, okay, for high pressure. And you can see this is a little cheaper than Loctite. I like using this, but you can see it, you know, I don't know how much, it's $5 or $6 cheaper than a Loctite bottle. You could use either one. I just like using this. Okay, so now here's your flow. Okay, I've got this all set up. Let me double check the way this goes. Okay. So this is all set up now. I'm going to stick it right in the top here. Actually, I'll probably put it here to do this a little better. So let's put grease on here so we don't get any gall. JIC connection on here. So it's a compression fit, so you want to send this down. How that moves, so you don't really want that moving. And this thing will kind of move so you can see it. Okay, so we got that all right. So that's basically the unit. So your pressure comes in here. Okay. When you first start this, you're going to have the valve wide open, and the flow will go full flow through there, come out to return. When you start choking this down, it'll restrict it, and the gauge will start raising up when you're doing the test. And we'll show that out in the field. Okay. I've already made the two hoses, and they have quick disconnects on there, so it'll plug right into the truck. And I'll leave these off now, but they both go, one on here and one on the other here. So that's basically it. So the next video will be a test in the field, but again, pressure comes in, here's the needle valve, choke it off, your gauge will come up. Okay, so that's all it is. And you know, anybody or any company that has maintenance and has a fleet of trucks, this is a good tool to have. Now this particular setup is probably about $1,000 or more. Okay, by the time you get all this stuff, these things are pretty expensive, and they got different sizes, but the 0 to 30 is a common thing for mobile applications. Okay, I have 3 or 4 of these. I got a 10-gallon one, I got a 60-gallon one, I got a 100-gallon one, but the one I mostly use is 0 to 30 for mobile applications. So there you go on that. And the next video hopefully will be a test in the field on one of the trucks for you to see how we do that.